Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the next session where we will talk about SMEs in the proximity economy. So, for those that don't know it, it's one of these ecosystems as well of the European Commission that's really dedicated towards resilience and competitiveness. There are many, many different types of businesses that make up this proximity economy, whether it's cooperatives, whether it's also retail, which is where I come in. But this event today has been organised and sponsored by Cooperatives Europe. They are in the crowd if you have questions for them after the session as well. But where I come in is also as the Director of Competitiveness at Eurocommerce, and Eurocommerce is the European Association for Retail and Wholesale. And certainly, you'll probably have seen it day to day. You have the retailers and you have these wholesalers working very closely with you and very much in proximity. So we like to think that we are here as part of the contribution to the local economy as well. So the panel will come in a little bit later, but actually what it is that we would like to introduce to begin with at the beginning of this session is really an understanding of what is the proximity economy and why it's really important to talk about it right now. So we will hear first from the European Commission. We're joined by Alessia de Gregorio, Deputy Head of Unit in DG Grow, responsible for the proximity, social economy, and creative industries. We will then move to a panel discussion with my distinguished panel members here, and I will introduce them later. And they will explain what they're doing to foster the proximity economy and what they want to see change in the future. So shortly you will see a QR code, and this is the way to ask questions. So start thinking about them now. It's via Slido. And you will then be able to have some time for questions at the end of the panel discussion. I will make some excuses already in advance due to some flights. Deborah, one of our panel members, will have to leave just shortly before the Q&A. And also, we will also have a little bit of musical chairs as well due to the flight times. But I think it should be an interesting discussion. So if I may, pass the floor over to Alessia, and please, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good morning, or even better, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you again for inviting DG Grow. And I'm very happy today to present the result of the report on the scoping of the socio-economic performance of the EU proximity economy. This report was published last September. This report also presents a valuable framework for evaluating and monitoring the proximity economy. And today we will explore together this report in general terms, scope, challenges, and recommendation for future developments. But before starting, I want also to thank the consortium who performed actually the report, which was commanded by DG Grow within the support of the Single Market Program. So let's move. The slide might be...
So there, here.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes, so here you can see the main key points which were analyzed and performed by the report. Of course, there is no time to go through, but I wanted just to keep your attention to this very key element which were analyzed. And so where I will start is the background, the context, why we needed a report, why now. So two elements need to be underlined. First of all, a renewed focus of proximity, and secondly, the impact of the COVID crisis. When it comes to the renewed focus of the proximity, you know that the city leaders are embracing more and more the concept of the 15-minute city. The goal here is to create spaces that are more people-focused, where everything residents need is within a short walk or bike ride. Proximity became a key ingredient in urban development, helping to build stronger, more sustainable communities and promote social cohesion. Shortening supply chains was essential, and in this way, we can make communities more and more resilient. But as I said, also COVID played an important role. First of all, people started favoring local, more resilient supply chains. The pandemic also showed that businesses and communities could stay connected, and with global supply chains disrupted, many turned to locally sourced products and services. In a nutshell, this shift towards proximity is reshaping how we live, how we work, how we connect each other. Here, you can see the way in which we conceived the ecosystem approach in terms of industrial ecosystems. This approach has been proposed by the industrial strategy, which was updated in 2021. And as you can see, one of these ecosystems is the proximity and social economy, which was identified among the 14 ones in order to drive the green and digital transition of these ecosystems with the help of their social and local stakeholders. In particular, I must say that the report that I am presenting today also explores how the proximity economy integrates into this industrial ecosystem approach in a broader manner, so interconnecting with other industrial ecosystems, and in the same time also aligning with the European policy priorities to support the green and digital transformation. One of the objectives of the report was to better understanding the proximity economy. That's why the analysis focused on the identification of the dimension for the proximity economy, and in particular 4 dimensions were identified as key ones. As you can see, geographical, which is about economic activities happening within a close geographical area. Relational, which is about the way in which proximity economy supports integration, boosting communication and collaboration. Cognitive, here knowledge is exchanged among different players, sparking ideas and in particular innovation. And finally digital, which is about using digital tools to streamline businesses and processes and services. But the study explored also how different economic concepts like collaborative, proximity, circular, sharing, and social economy are connected. What is important is the result of the report, the fact that all these concepts work together in order to create a more interconnected, efficient, inclusive way of doing businesses and engaging with communities. One of the main objectives of the report was also to identify and achieve a comprehensive definition of what is the proximity economy. Here you can see what has been identified. I can just summarize that proximity economy, according to the report, is a human-centered ecosystem. It focuses on short value chains and thrives on local social interactions within an area where people feel connected. And here we move to another section of the report. And in particular, to the analysis which were performed to identify the potential size of the proximity economy. In particular, the findings show that about 54% of outputs come from within the same region, and 65% of the value added is found in goods and services sold within that same region. This points to a significant opportunity for proximity economy. However, what is important here is that the goal of the analysis was not to label the retention of added value within a region, be good or bad. No. What is important is that the report tried to highlight the strong local economic activities which can be generated through the proximity dimension. And here we talk about the research which was done and which explored different ways in which value actually can be created within the proximity ecosystem, both in terms of economic values, but also in terms of alternative means. In the proximity economy, value is first of all generated by being a competitive organization that thrives on local connections, and this value comes from efficiencies gained by shortening value chains. But value is also created through alternative means, incorporating, for example, ethical objectives or responding to local needs. And proximity-based organizations often blend elements from these two approaches, choosing what best suits their businesses or their goals. Another section of the report focused on case studies. In particular, 5 case studies were analyzed during the course of the study, showcasing the business models active and present within the proximity economy. In particular, today, I'm presenting the case study coming from the Mondragon Corporation case. Mondragon is a network of cooperatives based in the Basque region. This case study highlights in particular the resilience dimension and is based on a wood products manufacturer deeply rooted in the local community in the Basque regions. Here we come to another section of the report, which is about policy approaches to the proximity economy. Indeed, the research offers a policy mapping by looking at the various policies and approaches that help drive the success of proximity economy. It provides a snapshot of the policy landscape across the European Union, identifying 168 policies, initiatives, strategies identified across the European Union, the 27 member states, but also including UK, showcasing how they support the proximity economy. And now we move to the section of the report concerning the monitoring framework. In particular, the study has created a set of metrics to track the performance of the proximity economy. The goal of this monitoring framework is to help local stakeholders to set clear objectives based on the socioeconomic goals of the proximity economy. But it also allows the impact and performance of the proximity economy ecosystem at the local and regional level. And as you can see in this slide, sorry, okay, now I'm in the good slide. The monitoring framework consists in 2 phases based on different indicators. Here we move to the section of the report which identified the proximity economy, linking proximity economy to the policy priorities, European policy priorities. In particular, the proximity economy fits well with the 3, oh my God, okay, sorry, I will put it here, okay. Fits well with the 3 main priorities from the current von der Leyen Commission. First of all, the European Green Deal. The proximity economy can support sustainability by promoting short supply chains and local production and consumption. Second, the a Europe fit for the digital age. This is the second priority. There we see that through digital proximity solutions, digital processes are made more accessible for businesses and consumers. Third, an economy that works for people, because with the local focus, which is essential for the proximity economy, it aligns with specific social economy models. And finally, a 4th point, it's about reinforcing Europe's industrial and strategic autonomy, which is dominated by SMEs. The proximity economy here can help build resilience. It can scale globally while maintaining close local ties. And finally, we achieve the last part of the report, which is about recommendations. And you can see some key selected recommendations made by the report to local public-private stakeholders, to the European Commission. And in particular, what I can say here is that proximity economy clearly thrives on relationships, and that's why, in this context, experts stressed the importance of public spaces for networking and building strong communities. Some key points, as you can see, are about urban planning and in particular, boost parks and pedestrian areas, developing rural infrastructure, using digital tech, and reusing old buildings in order to boost the proximity economy. When it comes to the Commission, the report advised to develop a strategy focused on place-based developments, community involvement and sustainability, empowering local stakeholders, aligning economic incentives with social and environmental goals in order to support local businesses. And finally, EU funding should support more and more the proximity economy through better aligning with proximity goals and helping businesses adopt sustainable practices. With this last slide, I achieve the end of my presentation. Of course, the report is available in the public domain. So for those of you who are interested, it's very simple. You can Google scoping the socioeconomic performance of the EU proximity economy, and you will get more insight and information coming from this report. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alessia, and I think you're going to stay and listen and come back to the stage later to just go through a few reflections as well. So thank you very much for setting the scene, and certainly what I heard is that the proximity economy, it's reshaping the way we live and work. So I would like to introduce my panel. So I'm joined on stage here with Barbara Hegdus, and I apologize for my pronunciation. It's not my favorite part of being a moderator. You are the former member of the European Committee of the Regions. And Augusto Lima, who's the Alderman of Economy and Entrepreneurship, Education and Science, International Relations in the municipality, and may I ask you just to pronounce your municipality so I don't destroy it? If you could pronounce your municipality, where you're from.
Famalicão.
There you go. And Deborah Greco, who is the Head of Innovation, Hubs and Urban Regeneration, and if I may...
Fondazione Brodolini.
And now actually, it really does leave me the floor to ask, actually, if I may start with you, Barbara. What is it that you're working on that's fostering this proximity economy?
First of all, thank you very much for the invitation. It's my pleasure to be here and represent now the European Committee of the Regions. I was a former member of this institution, and I was a deputy mayor in my city in Veszprém here in Hungary. And I think it is very important for the local and regional level, and it's a very interesting topic, this proximity economy. And in the Committee of the Regions, the last 6 months, we were working on an opinion, actually a document, to elaborate how the Committee of the Regions, how the local and regional authorities can foster the proximity economy, how in our everyday life we can use this method, and how we can concentrate better on our SMEs and our micro enterprises. Because what we are talking about a lot in the local level and in this institution, the European level, is that how we can, for example, help the youngsters and the local people to stay in their city, in their villages, in their regions. This so-called freedom to stay. It's a very important issue how we can support this, the youngsters or the entrepreneurs stay in the regions and in their own cities also, and how we can help them to start a business, to start a career. And I think proximity economy is a very interesting aspect because it's very human-centric. And in the local level, we can see that this micro enterprises and SMEs, it's very important inside the community, in the society of a city, because actually they are who support very much institutions, sport clubs, and actually they live in the city, inside the community. And what's the future of SMEs and these micro enterprises, these micro businesses, is very important because they can formulate our region and our cities. And I think after, for example, the pandemic situation, it's even more important the closeness, how we can use the short value chains in the business life, how we can help that the suppliers and the production, they be as close as much they can and cooperate with each other. So now with our opinion, we would like to represent that we have some method, we have some knowledge in the local level that we can use that offer real help for these SMEs, because, for example, the digitalization, the lack of financial help, or how they can cooperate and build communities, these are the aspects that in local level, we can help. Now I am a member of the Hungarian Parliament, so I can also feel that it is even more important in the national level to find solutions and find cooperation with the local level, how we can modernize our villages, how we can really help that the people who would like to stay in their regions, they would like to stay in local level, then find their own opportunities.
So it sounds really interesting, freedom to stay and real help. So it sounds like you're really getting your hands on. And perhaps, Deborah, I can just turn to you. And I presume that some of this has resonated as well with what initiatives you're working on to foster the proximity economy.
Thank you. Thank you for the invitation. It's a really pleasure to be here today. And we work at Fondazione Giacomo Brodolini. It's an international SMEs that we work in a particular with a social SMEs or SMEs with a social impact. That means for us it's important to growing up and develop the local ecosystem. I come from Italy. Italy is has a huge history on social enterprise, the cooperatives, startup with the social impact. So for us, I think it's easier to talk about social ecosystem, social enterprise before start talking to SMEs in general. Also because we have micro enterprises, and what we do with Fondazione Giacomo Brodolini is support these social enterprises, social SMEs to growing up together with the local ecosystem. This means for us to work with three specific actors: the SMEs, the local government and the public bodies, and the stakeholder and the community. With Ms. De Gregorio before said the municipality to 15 minutes, the center to 15 minutes. I think it's crucial to develop the local ecosystem and the local social enterprise. And we support them with non-financial support, because one of the things we learned in the last 10 years is that one of the most important issue for the social enterprise, for the SMEs, is not the funding or the money, but is the ecosystem, is the stakeholder, and is the skill and the possibility to growing up. We found a European fund to do this. We are a small foundation. Our balance and budget is made from the European fund. So it means we try to find collaboration with the public, municipality, and European fund. And another important aspect in our model is the innovation hub. We have 10 innovation hubs around Italy and another one in San Francisco. And there are the open and public space. That means we manage in a collaboration with the vision and the mission of municipality. We have in Turin, another one in Milan, 4 in the Latium region, 2 in the Valle d'Aosta region. So we try to transform the old building in a new vision, in a new mission. There are all the old fabrics or manufacturing site. In the last year, we transformed this place in a local and a digital platform to engage the social enterprise, the startup with a social impact, because we think and we support that the important point at this level is not a value. I mean, every SME has a value. Profit, non-profit, social, or every SME, every big corporation has a value or have to have a value. So the important in this right moment is the collaboration, the synergy, and develop a new ecosystem. So we try to do this in the last 10 years, more or less.
So it sounds like very much collaboration, and if I recall what was the recommendation from the study, bringing together people in networks, it sounds you're really ticking the box there and showing it works. And if I may just now turn to Augusto, because I know that you have quite an interesting project to tell us about, and you actually were an award winner from the Committee of the Regions for successfully rebranding your entrepreneurial strategy. So perhaps you can say a few words about this and how you're fostering the proximity economy.
So thank you for this invention. A special remark, grateful to European Committee of Regions. Thank you very much for this invention. I don't know if is the Famalicão is the best example of proximity economy, but it is a reality local level, and I show you my presentation is about 3 topics: a context, a strategy, and ecosystem. A context is, for you understand better, Famalicão is a city in the north of Portugal, a medium city in the north of Portugal, very near of north of Spain, Galicia, and we have this really 6.5 million people market between Porto and Galicia is our market. Of course, Famalicão is the 3rd biggest export city of Portugal. We have many industries in different sectors, like, for example, textile, metalwork, agro-food, and components of automotive. These are our main sectors, our city. This is the context. Famalicão, the biggest, for example, to you understand better, Famalicão, the biggest fabric of button are made in Famalicão. The biggest of the world, button. The biggest fabric made cups and saucer, for example, it was in Famalicão. We have, for example, another companies, another fabrics, Germany companies, like, for example, the Continental, the tires, a Leica, the machines of photographics. So there are a context favorable to develop an economy. Of course, is necessary for this is necessary a strategy, and into 2014 we developed a strategy. With the name it was Famalicão Made In, and the main objective it was promote our economy, our companies, to show the companies all the world. Okay, it was the development in 2014. 10 years after, we have in this moment another strategy, of course, and I don't know if it was a good coincidence, but in this moment we are the European Entrepreneurial Region 2024, with of course the economy and the strategy that, like I said, and this new strategy it was focused in three axes. One of them, entrepreneurship and technological entrepreneurship, to support entrepreneurs, and it is important to refer here that we have a collaboration with the CEOs, the big companies, and for example, the entrepreneurs and the small companies and startups. We have our mentors are the CEOs of these big companies, like I refer. So in this moment, of course, is important for us developing more entrepreneurships and technological entrepreneurships. Another axis, another point is innovation. It was for us is very, very important innovation. If Famalicão made very well in the past, in the future is important to create very well. Okay, so it's very important the innovation, and it's very important to link a collaboration with the universities, with the technological centers, with associations, with the small companies and the big companies. For us the focus in this moment is innovation. And then, of course, the persons, the people. We need people. We need to attract young people, and we need to attract people like work in the industries and like work, and of course, in our territory. If you understand better this, in this moment, 50% of our students in level secondary are in vocational course. 50%, more than 50%, 51% more rigorous. So this is very important for us to respond our industry, and we need more training course and professional course.
And maybe if I can just stop you there, because I'm conscious that Deborah does need to leave, because I'm wondering if some of this what's just been said as well is something about the next generation being prepared. Is this something that has been sort of in your mind about the challenges and where you might see some more support, and what was your thinking of as well for what maybe could be a good call now that we have the Commission in the room?
Well, I think the next new challenge for the SMEs, social SMEs, are the ecosystem. I mean, we need to develop a fair ecosystem. In this way, at this moment, we have a non-competitive ecosystem. I mean, SMEs with a value, with a social value, or a big corporation with CSR or SDGs, I think are driving in transform in an unfair ground. We need to support the social enterprise, the proximity, economy, and urban regeneration with a new model, a new rules. We need to make the access to finance easier. With different rules. It's impossible for a small social enterprise to access the finance like a big corp or SMEs in general, and we come from a different background. The social enterprise, the proximity enterprises are really small with a huge value. At some time, this mindset stop the evolution, the integration with the local ecosystem. In this case, we are managing in this month social procurement for the Olympic game with a goal to find a synergy with a big corp and a small social enterprise, but we have a huge problem and issue because they have two different mindsets and they work in the totally different way. So when we try to find a synergy with different words, it's really hard because their rules are totally different and the ecosystem, I mean, it's unfair for the social enterprise. So I think we need to collaborate in a synergic way with social and social SMEs, public bodies and the regulation, the parliament and the government, and the community, because the great value for the social enterprise and the proximity is the human-centered, begin and needs. They have the response, they have the answer, and if you want to give or still give a identitary vision and imagine to the city we need to support the local development and the proximity economy, because in other way, we have all the European capital with the same face, with the same source of the city center. I mean, it's not the right way.
There's certainly diversity and talking to each other. I mean, if it's human-centric, it sounds like that's something that you definitely need to hear. So if you do need to leave, please just stand up and I will say thank you already. But maybe I can come back to you, Augusto, because you were talking a little bit about preparing for the next generation and the skills as well. And so that's maybe a recommendation, I presume. But tell me what's challenging and where you imagine there could be more support.
Yes, of course, the skills are very, very important. But I only to show you a good example, it was the textile sector. Famalicão is Famalicão city textile because we have whole. I think is a good example of proximity economy because we have whole. We have companies from creation to market. We have universities with a course of textile. We have professional schools, textile professional schools. We have a technological center. We have associations. We have a museum, a textile museum. So with this, I think it's important to short value chain, yeah, because in our region have all the everything to make textile and to make clothes, yeah, to all of the world. Of course, we have some difficulties and some challenge, like for example, the talent, the attract young people to textile is very difficult. We don't have young people to work in our companies, in our fabrics. So it's necessary to have good communication, marketing, to show another sector to attract these students and these young people. And of course, to have more skills in the sector, because the sector today is digital, is automotive, is EA, so is completely different in the past. But it is very difficult to change the mental change in our people, in our persons.
Sure, I think there's something that definitely resonates also from the retail and wholesale perspective as well, is definitely an openness to change. If I may, Barbara, I'm just going, because I know that Alessia does need to leave, if I can invite her to the stage and then we can come back to you. Okay. But just for a few reflections on what you've heard, so flights aren't missed.
Thank you very much, Lina, and I really apologize, but I must leave before the end of this very interesting discussion, I must say. So, from DG GROW and the European perspective, I believe that EU proximity economy stands at the heart of this transformative approach, which touches not only economy but also our society. Let's say that proximity economy is really instrumental to achieve the environmental challenges, but also it's very much important and it supports social cohesion, community resilience, and economic resilience. We have today a proximity and social economy ecosystem. We have talked about this. I come back to this concept, which is essential in order to support more and more our local and social stakeholders. This is a very active ecosystem, and we are collecting pledges from their own stakeholders. So far, we have collected 200 pledges in order to help, to collaborate with these stakeholders to drive the green and digital transition of our economies. And I can also tell you that very shortly there will be a platform online in order to matchmaking, supporting the local and social stakeholders matchmaking through this platform. But it's important that pledges are done, pledges are shared with us, and DG Grow has we have in our site you can find more information. But also we are supporting local and social stakeholders through other programs. So for example, there might be in the future some support on under Horizon Europe for social circular enterprises. So why I'm saying this? Because we are doing a lot, but we need to do more. Definitely proximity economy is not a niche economy. It's our vision. It's our vision for a sustainable, inclusive and resilient future. And with this, I thank you again for this great opportunity to be here today to discuss with you about proximity, about social economy and proximity. And I say goodbye to all of you.
Thank you very much. So actually, it's a bit of a call to arms as well. And I wonder now if I can come back to you, Barbara, and thank you, Deborah. Come back to you and just say, okay, you heard that there's a lot going on. People have made pledges. Matchmaking seems to be the way forward. So what do you see as well as being the way forward, and what's the challenges that need to be overcome?
First, it was interesting to hear the example of Famalicão, if I pronounce it well, because my city, Veszprém, is quite in a similar situation. The automotive industry is important. We have Continental, Valeo, Balloof, and also it's very important, the vocational training. We would like to concentrate on and support the youngsters. I think I agree that it's very important. For example, now there will be a new Hungarian program. It's a national program that will offer supported loans for the youngsters under 25 who are part of the vocational training or they work in this sector. And for example, they would like to start a new business or they have an idea and it's connected to the child care program. I think it's a good example. And on the other hand, but in local level, we can see that we need to concentrate on the community building. For example, the last year, in 2023, Veszprém was a European Capital of Culture, and we concentrated in this program also to support the SMEs and the economical sector in our city. And I would like to just share one example that I think is connected to the proximity economy, that during this European Capital of Culture program, we wanted to give a new life to our traditional historical center, because normally it was a quite empty area of the city center. And during this revitalization, we offered support, financial support for these micro enterprises. They started their business, the restaurants, bars, or shops in the historical city center. It was supported by this the city program, and now it seems that it works. And now this part of the city in the historical center it's renewed, and now there are smaller businesses inside, and actually they can cooperate with each other and they encourage each other in their everyday life. So actually this proximity economy actually means that together the smaller enterprises, they try to cooperate, and we as a city level, we need to create an environment that offers security and prosperity for them, and I hope in the future they can flourish also and maintain their business.
It sounds brilliant to hear this word collaboration. And if I may just ask the organisers to just pop up the slide that shows the Slido, because we have a moment to take in questions for a Q&A, and these will come to me via Slido. But certainly just before at the lunch break, I also was talking about collaboration with retail and also we are not running in this parallel track. So working together with the cities and all the other people that are acting there. And I think this may be something that I certainly take away from this session. So yes, we would like to invite everybody to ask some questions, and they come up on my screen. So we have a little bit of time. So I have a question from, inspired by yesterday. Professor Wickland said yesterday that we need some creative chaos to foster entrepreneurship. So what do you think the proximity economy, to what extent can the proximity economy thrive by itself as a phenomenon linked to more human-centric urban and mobility policies? And if you need more supporting measures, what would they be? I think you've touched on a couple of these already, but any keynotes also inspired by a reaction to the professor yesterday that says, let's not just follow Silicon Valley.
First, I think what can help, and we haven't talked about that, sometimes we as local leaders, we sometimes think that just the financial help can be a help to foster the proximity economy or to foster businesses in our city. But we can help, for example, with the reduction of the administrative burdens, simplifying legislation, and to create an environment where the entrepreneurs think that they have opportunity to actually don't bother them, that the local leaders don't bother them, they don't have so many strict rules that can flourish or influence their everyday life. So maybe that's that's one example. And for example, in a bureaucratic way, how sometimes a city works in everyday life, maybe we have to learn from other institutions, we have to cooperate with other businesses, how we can help with them. So the cooperation is very important to receive the appropriate information, what they really need, what are their challenges. So I hope in the future we have to find better solutions together.
Great, and Augusto, I don't know, that probably resonated with you, I'm sure, but anything else that you can probably add to this idea of how you bring it all together?
Yes, I don't know if it's necessary a creative cause to foster entrepreneurship, but I think it was necessary a context, a good context, a leader. I think is necessary a leadership, and more than this, I think is necessary a feeling of belonging, because if the companies, the CEOs, the entrepreneurs have a feeling and trust, I think that investments and we attract more companies and more entrepreneurs, for example.
Okay, so certainly about seizing the opportunities. Now, I know that we're coming up to the half-hour time, but we have got a couple more questions. So if we started a little bit late, if you can stay, let's maybe address these. The first one is, well, actually, there's three more questions. So how do you see the role of SMEs from cultural and creative industries into the proximity sector? Are you bringing them together, essentially? I'm not sure how well this also works from your perspective. Are there any support measures that you're working on that also bring in the cultural and creative industries?
If we think about the culture and creative industry in our city, we have thought about a lot during the preparation for the European Capital of Culture program, because actually these sectors can be a very important role in the future in our city life, because these are very highly added value sector. We as a local government, I think we can help in one way that create institutions environment where they can work. For example, we will have a new digital museum it will be a very new and I think it's a very creative, connected to a creative industry. So we hope that it can attract young experts from this industry, and they can find their way in the local level. But of course, if we just think about the other questions, maybe because we don't have too much time, I would like to say that, for example, the proximity economy, what we think about and the global economy, one question is about it. It's a very hard question because sometimes the local business is connected to the global economy because, for example, in our cities, there are multinational companies. So, of course, there are local businesses which take part in the global value chains. But a lot of times these businesses, for example, they are family-run businesses. So actually, we can work together with them. How, for example, we can help that to maintain their businesses, even if the family members will change, or there are a new area, there are new opportunities for them, and help them to find these new opportunities in the future. So, of course, these different sectors are very connected, and it's very hard to find how we can find solutions in these different sectors. And I hope that if local governments can establish community buildings, community area where they can cooperate with each other, this can be a key factor, because in every sector, for example, in Hungary, what we see that for the SMEs, or the micro enterprises, it would be more important to find cooperation, create clusters, they create, not be afraid to create industrial networks and work together, because what we can see that in the local level, it can encourage them, and it can make them stronger, not weaker.
So definitely no silos. And I don't know, Augusto, we have a couple more questions as well. So I think you addressed a little bit about the link to public procurement. I don't know if you can comment on that, or skills.
For example,
as
the
well.
proximity economy versus global economy. Because like our case and our city, I think it's very important to protect proximity economy. Of course, globalization needs, in my opinion, regulation. And the proximity economy is very important to have protection, because it's necessary to have the origin of the products, the carbon footprinting, for example, and social criteria. Like, for example, as a woman, working conditions, salaries, and we work much better in our city and our region to have these conditions, and in other hand of the world isn't this. So our companies, our enterprise, is very difficult to compete with other companies in the world. So I think is necessary more regulation and protections the proximity economies.
Sure. So I think this probably brings us to the end. But I hear what you're saying is that there's very much the EU values reflected in the proximity economy. And certainly, to just reflect on what I started the panel with, it does look like the proximity economy will help reshape the way we live and work. So I hope we can continue this discussion, and I'm sure there's plenty to think about. So thank you very much for joining me today and the panel. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.